Hi, this is Raven. On the last video I covered convoys, so I thought it might be useful to cover IEDs. So on this video I'm going to show you how to construct a static IED and a suicide bomber. So let's just go into Zeus, and I've already set these things up so that I don't spend time or waste time setting it up and make the video longer than it needs to be. So here's the truck I've got ready, not the jackal. I'm just going to stick a guy down, rifleman. I'm going to take control. Right, so this is just the single jackal, but likelihood if you've got a mission set up like this, this might be a sort of 3-car or more patrol. So on static IEDs I like to have a small explosion so that it damages the car and doesn't completely destroy it, so you can actually repair it. So it's like makes them stop, and you can set up ambushes. So there you can see I've lost all the wheels and I'm getting shot at. There's a guy on a hill and another guy on a hill. So that could be quite a nice little firefight you could have going there, because you're stopping the convoy. Guys have got to get out. You could delay the ambush so you've got some of the guys out of the vehicles. Sort of, it's a good thing to note that if you're using AI in the vehicles, I think it's if you lose half the amount of wheels a vehicle has, the AI will get out. So if you lose two wheels on the 4-wheel vehicle, the AI will dismount. So something to bear in mind. Okay, so I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so we're at the jackal. Let's follow the road down and we come to our first trigger. This trigger is just for the ambush. I'll quickly show you in case you're interested. Activation blue for present, so it's simple basic trigger. And you see we've got 2 waypoint releases here. So all I've done is stick a couple of guys on this side of the mountain and I held them there until the jackal goes through this trigger, and then it releases their waypoints, and then I've got them to come this side of the peak so that they can see and engage the convoy. Okay, so the next one is the IED and the IED trigger, and the distance obviously between the ambush and the IED you'll have to sort of work out yourself. That's just a bit of trial and error. So I've done a few different goes and pulled it out this far. You can either use it by distance and sort of gauge it, or you can add a timer on the trigger, or both, to sort of get it right. I mean, you might want to delay it more so that some of the troops are actually outside the vehicle and actually starting to work on it before you get them to ambush, or like I did straight away as soon as they get hit. I'll leave it up to you. So anyway, the IED, this one here is activated by blue for present, same as the other, but in the on activation it's got this, and I'll put this in the video comments so you can just literally copy and paste it. So it's using an 82mm anti-tank mine, and it's putting the IED on this here. So this can be whatever you want it to say, so it could be IED 1, IED 2, but as long as you change it there and there, you'll be fine. And for the IED, I've just used another little trigger, and you just call it IED I've called this one the Narendar pass, and that's quite simply because my IED is on the Narendar pass. I find it easier to sort of use map names rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because if you've got 20 of them it can get a bit confusing. Why I've used a trigger as the IED is because it's invisible, because I actually want the convoy to get hit on this occasion. But if you have got several IEDs, or you just want to give your guys a chance to avoid it, so sort of testing their awareness, then you can make any object an IED. So it could be a broken down or burnt out car, or it could be a water bottle, or something that represents, you know, what an IED might be disguised as these days. So give you guys a chance to find it and avoid it. But if you don't, you want it to be invisible, then just use a trigger. And that's that. I just like I said, this is a 82mm anti-tank mine, and I use that because it just damages the vehicle enough to immobilize it, but not enough that it gets destroyed and kills people, because I just want it to be immobilized to allow the guys to repair and get attacked. But for the suicide bomber, I like to use a heavier explosion, so we'll just cover that now. Right, so let's go to Zeus and I'll show you the setup for the suicide bomber. So I just need to place another guy down. And I've already set this up, so again I'll show you how it works and then run you through how I did it. So this guy, we're going to go and back up this guy here because we've got a civilian at the gate. And as you can see, the civilian's starting to walk towards them because he's got something he wants to say to these guys. See what he has to say. Not a lot. Okay, so let's go through how we did it. So we have a very basic trigger again. It's blue for present activated, and all that does is release the civilian on his waypoint. So he'll walk up to the gate, and I've put a trigger at the gate for him, and on that trigger he will say Allah Akbar, civilian present, and the trigger is called AA because I've got another trigger, and this trigger is activated when trigger AA is activated, and I've got a 1 second timer, so this trigger will fire 1 second after he's said Allah Akbar. So you could tweak with that and do half a second or 3/4 of a second because it was slightly out of timing, but the code is exactly the same as the static IED, apart from this bit here, which is just a bigger explosion, and our name of the IED is different. What we've called the civilian IED civ. Okay, so IED civ. So that's it, it's exactly the same. I think that covers it all. I just briefly sort of went over that, but if you want me to cover how to add sounds into the game, then put it in the comments and I'll sort of do a video on that, and anything else you want to know. Alright, good luck guys.